Hello, ladies and gentlemen. MarauderEX here with kind of a gaming news update thing. It's been a really busy week, and right now it's Tuesday. But it was mostly end of last week, over the weekend. There's been a lot going on, so I kind of want to just talk about a lot of the stuff that's happening because it's all stuff that has either got me really excited or really apprehensive, and I'm just going, this is worth all talking about. So I'm going to start with the more recent and then kind of work my way back. So the most recent is Streets of Rage 4 was announced. Sega is actually doing Streets of Rage 4, except they're not doing it themselves. They've got another company doing it, and it's the same people who did Wonder Boy. That's .emu, I don't know how to say your name, I'm sorry, and Lizard Cube. They did that. So they announced the trailer, which was just a very quick teaser trailer, mostly animation style, going the Sonic Mania teaser route of, hey, we've got this thing that we're working on, it's going to have some animation, it's going to look cool. I loved Wonder Boy. I did a live stream of it. I will link to that in the video description. And I love Streets of Rage, so I'm really excited, but I'm also really apprehensive from what little we saw gameplay footage. The art style is very much the more modern style that they used for Wonder Boy. That could be a little off-putting to some, if you're going by like the Guardian Heroes HD remake. A lot of people don't like they want the sprites, and it's very difficult to do super HD sprites. That's a lot of work. So I'm willing to give that a pass, see what it's going to be like. My one thing is I don't really like the character designs. Axel looks really old and kind of out of shape, and Blaze looks younger than she did in Streets of Rage 3. She looks closer to her age in Streets of Rage 2. So she's aging backwards, and Axel has just been out of the game for like 20 years. So, and then the only other thing that I'm wondering about is the music, because the music for Streets of Rage is iconic. If you don't nail the music, then you're not going to nail the game. So, waiting to see a little bit about that and see where that goes. But I'm cautiously optimistic. That is a phrase I use a lot for that. Next story is Chrono Break. Not actually a game that exists, just a mock-up. The people who did Owlboy wanted to do just a mock-up of, a what if. Mostly just what they could do to show off, what if this game were to exist? And it made everyone realize that they want this game to exist. It looks gorgeous. It also has really high quality sprite work, but it's not a game. It was really just a proof of concept. So a lot of effort was put into just making it look good, rather than making sure, it was a game that played. But it was an amazing teaser trailer that showed off, a lot of what ifs of the Chrono franchise continuing, and main character with a scythe, someone with robot as a backpack, and lots of blackbirds that have time travel capabilities, and everything looks amazing. It looked so neat. I can hope that exists. And, going back to the Streets of Rage 4 thing, this is a very popular trend right now of a lot of older games being, especially with Sega, because we had this with Sonic Mania as well, games that are kind of being given to smaller development teams that are really eager to be like, we can do great things with this, let us do this. We are huge fans of this franchise, whatever franchise it may be. We saw that with Sonic Mania, we saw it with Wonder Boy, hopefully we see it with Streets of Rage, and I would love to see that happen with Chrono Trigger as well. We have Tokyo RPG Factory, the subset within Square that have done I Am Setsuna and Lost Sphere, that are very much inspired by Chrono Trigger. I would like to see an actual take on it and, give it the development cycle that it would deserve. Because I enjoyed Lost Sphere and I Am Setsuna, but I understand there are a lot of points to those games that people are like, maybe not. So, yeah. And then the last story that I wanted to talk about was out of Gamescom. the company Retrobit has been officially licensed by Sega to do controllers for the Master System, Mega Drive / Genesis, Sega Saturn, and Dreamcast. I believe all 4 of those. It may not be the Master System. I don't know. I have only seen the mock-ups for the Genesis and Saturn versions, which they released at Gamescom, and they also talked about what the prices for those are going to be. And I have to say I'm a little disappointed in that, because the original designs that they had shown were basically OEM controllers. They are the exact controllers, just you have one version that is just a straight, it connects, for the Saturn, for example, you have a straight Saturn Model 2 controller that connects to the Saturn directly. There's another one that is just the same controller, it just has a USB attachment, so it attaches to via USB instead of to the Saturn itself. And then you had one that did not have a wire at all, and it was just Bluetooth. They were the exact same. You had the different color variations for the different regions for the Saturn, but they were the same controller. Now it seems as though the Bluetooth controller is going to be a Bluetooth controller for anything else, and as such will have 2 analog sticks and possibly more buttons. I haven't been able to get an idea if it has 2 shoulder buttons and then 2 trigger buttons, but it's not what was originally shown, and that's a little disappointing to me because I really just wanted some Saturn controllers that were just wireless, some just Saturn Bluetooth controllers that I would use for the Saturn so that I didn't have to worry about cords everywhere. And while this still works for it, because it does have a Bluetooth dongle that plugs into the console and allows that, it's not the same controller. It's not going to feel the same. It's going to feel like using a third-party controller on these consoles. And for that, I'm not entirely sure it's going to be worth it for the price that they've shown, because the Bluetooth controllers are going to... it was listed in British pounds. It was like $49.99 and then $29.99 for the receiver itself. So the Bluetooth controller doesn't even come with the receiver. You have to buy the receiver separately. And that's a lot of money for a retro style controller for a retro console. Like that's really a lot. And so I'm far more apprehensive about that now. And they said that they were working on Dreamcast accessories as well. Nothing shown for the Dreamcast controllers yet, mostly because I'm wondering how that's actually going to work, because the VMU plays such a big part of the Dreamcast controller experience. If they had a Bluetooth Dreamcast controller, how VMU functionality is going to play into that is very, very questionable. Either you have to have the ability to transmit the VMU data wirelessly through the Bluetooth and have enough power in the controller to also power the VMU, or you're not going to have that functionality, or you have a thing to plug the VMU into the Dreamcast directly and it's not in your controller and you don't get the little screen in your... So there's a lot to it that I'm not sure about. And like I said, I'm kind of disappointed in the fact that it's not going to be an OEM controller for the Bluetooth version. Because I've got several wired controllers, and there have been USB Saturn controllers forever that are not quite as good. So I'm just wondering, it's like, is this going to be worth that price point? And I'm curious, and not really a positive curiosity here. More like I'll wait and see how it goes, and maybe just maybe. But yeah, so that's really been the big 3 things that I wanted to talk about this week. That's a lot of stuff that's just like, this is incredible. And mostly it does get me kind of hyped up that there is this huge retro revisit in the industry that I've talked about before. I would love to see other studios take up Sega franchises. Like Sega has Atlas, so they have a fantastic RPG development team, and they have so many good RPG franchises that have not had anything done with them, like Dragon Force, Shining Force, Panzer Dragoon, Skies of Arcadia. The list goes on. So like there's a lot to that could be done, and I would just like to see more from it. And giving like Lizard Cube and Dot, Emu Emu, free reign over some of these to try again with Wonder Boy and now Streets of Rage. I would love to see some more of these things. And Camelot's gone on record saying that they would love to do Shining Force 4. So hey, Sega, why not? But it's a very interesting retro revitalization, revisitation, something starting with R. That way you've got the alliteration. See what I did there. But yeah, let me know what you think about any of these stories, or any other stories that I might have missed this week, because there's a lot going on, or something that I've seen and haven't gotten a chance to cover yet. So let me know your thoughts, because it's quite an interesting time to be a gamer. So yeah, till then, later everyone.